Las Vegas was supposed to be controlled chaos. Crime existed, but it followed rules. No public killings. No headlines. No attention. Then one man arrived and the rules stopped mattering. He wasn't a casino owner. He wasn't a maid boss. He was the man bosses called when fear needed a face. Tony Spilotro didn't just enforce the mob's power in Las Vegas. Some investigators believe he rewrote how organized crime controlled the Strip itself. From secret burglary rings to FBI wiretap wars to murders that sent messages no courtroom could ever prove. The deeper investigators looked, the more one question kept resurfacing: was Spilotro running Vegas? Or was he protecting something far bigger hiding behind casino doors? Tonight we reopen the file. This is Behind the Veil Truths. And this is the story of the Vegas enforcer who became too dangerous to exist. In the shadowy streets of Las Vegas, rumors spread like wildfire. The city's neon glow masked the dark dealings unfolding behind closed doors. Everyone knew Spilotro was dangerous, yet few really understood how far his influence stretched. He operated in the gray areas where lawful and unlawful blurred. To many, he was simply a man enforcing order where chaos threatened to erupt. But beneath that facade, questions lingered. Was he more than just an enforcer? Did he serve a hidden master or protect the very fabric of the city's power structure? Every wiretap, every secret meeting hinted at a larger game. Investigators uncovered links to high-ranking figures, both legal and illegal. Sometimes it seemed like Spilotro guarded something precious, something too dangerous to be revealed. His methods grew increasingly brutal. Public fear of him was palpable, yet no official charges ever pinned him down completely. He was a ghost in the machine, a myth wrapped in flesh. When bodies started piling up, the rumors exploded. Was he eliminating threats or eliminating witnesses? Every murder seemed to send a message only insiders could decode. The law struggled to keep pace with his ruthless tactics. Meanwhile, Spilotro's legend grew larger than life. Some believed he was untouchable. Others thought he was the puppet master behind the scenes. As the investigation deepened, questions about the true extent of his power multiplied. Was he simply a tool of the mob, or was he something else entirely? Tonight, as we delve into the dark corners of Las Vegas history, truth and myth collide. This story isn't just about a man. It's about the thin line between order and chaos in the city that never sleeps. Casino. Tony Spilotro. In 1971, Tony Spilotro took over in Las Vegas. He'd been connected to the mob since childhood. His parents were from Bari, southeast Italy, and ran a Chicago restaurant used for meetings by major gang figures like Frank Nitti and Sam Giancana. From an early age, Spilotro drifted into petty crime. In 1962, he pleaded guilty to attempting to fix a basketball game. He later became a debt collector for the Chicago outfit, the local Cosa Nostra branch. With the outfit's enforcer mad, Sam DiStefano behind him, Spilotro was sent to kill 2 gangsters. He gained a savage reputation when he reportedly crushed one victim's head in a vise. In 1963, Spilotro was made and put into bookmaking alongside his childhood friend Frank "Lefty" Rosenthal. After running betting operations in Miami, he was sent to Las Vegas, where his arrival coincided with a noticeable shift in how violence and control worked in the city. As Spilotro's influence grew, a series of murders followed. Victims were tortured and dumped in the desert, signaling that Vegas was no longer being kept quiet by distant bosses. In 1973, Spilotro was indicted for murder alongside DiStefano, but he was acquitted after DiStefano was killed. In 1974, Spilotro was indicted again, this time alongside alleged mob boss Joseph Lombardo. They were acquitted again after a key witness was murdered. Trouble intensified when the Nevada Gaming Commission barred Spilotro from entering casinos. Cut off from the front door of Vegas money, he diversified into burglary and protection rackets. The situation worsened when his burglary crew was arrested and rumors spread that Spilotro was sleeping with Rosenthal's wife. The outfit decided he'd become a liability. They lured him back to Illinois. There, Tony and his brother Michael were beaten with baseball bats and then burned in a cornfield. In Casino, Nicholas Pileggi, also author of Wise Guy, adapted into Goodfellas, used interviews with Spilotro's enforcer Frank Collada and FBI agent Bill "Bud" Hall, who bugged him, to tell the story of Spilotro's Vegas reign. Vegas before Tony? When Spilotro arrived in 1971, Las Vegas was still relatively quiet. The bosses were making so much from skimming, bookmaking, and loan sharking that they wanted the town clean and low noise. The rules were simple. Disputes were settled quietly, no public shootings or car bombs, and bodies didn't get left in obvious places. If someone had to die, it happened outside town or the body vanished into the desert. Before Tony, mob business was almost polite in its structure. Even the biggest loan shark could operate openly from a pizza shop. and the city's petty criminals worked without paying a street tax. Vegas was an open city where outsiders could drift in, hustle, and leave. Tony stopped all that. According to retired FBI agent Bud Hall Jr., Tony changed the entire ecosystem. He imposed a street tax on every bookie, loan shark, drug dealer, and pimp. Some resisted. A bookmaker named Jerry Delman resisted and ended up dead in what looked like a daytime robbery. Nobody tried to hide the body. The message was the point. A real gangster had arrived. Tony understood the advantage. The bosses were 500 miles away, and Vegas didn't have the same street-level oversight as Chicago. The John Grandy moment. Lefty Rosenthal recalled an arrogant casino executive named John Grandy, who bullied everyone. One morning, Grandy ordered Tony to hold heavy construction materials like he was a laborer. Tony's reaction flipped the room's temperature. He shoved it back and warned Grandy that if he spoke to him like that again, Tony would throw him out the window. When Tony left, Grandy demanded to know who he was. The moment Grandy learned the name Tony Spilotro, he panicked, ran to Tony, and apologized repeatedly. Vegas had learned a new rule. Names mattered more than titles. Frank Collada arrives. Payroll, cops, and control. After serving prison time, Frank Collada was welcomed back with cash and envelopes, then sent to Vegas. By the time he arrived, he said Tony already had the city wired. People in the sheriff's office, courthouse, and phone company, plus constant intel about taps. Tony also had the lifestyle magnetism, attention, women, celebrities, and the gravitational pull of power. Collada describes how Tony wanted more money fast and gave him carte blanche to build a crew and take what they needed. The burglary machine, hole in the wall. Collada explains they strong-armed the city's criminals. Then those same victims ran to Tony for protection, never realizing Tony had sent the robbers in the first place. They specialized in quick home invasions and burglaries, often entering through stucco walls using a sledgehammer and cutting chicken wire inside the wall. The press dubbed them the hole-in-the-wall gang. They used scanners, police frequencies, and even FBI descramblers. Tony provided tools and information, and he took a cut of every job. When $1,000 bills were hard to unload, they washed them through casino cash operations, turning hot money into spendable money. The gold rush, bugs, scramblers, and surveillance chess. Tony ran much of his operation from the Gold Rush jewelry store, set up with anti-surveillance gear, scramblers, binoculars, radios, and regular sweeps by a Chicago electronics specialist. The FBI installed mics and taps. Tony's crew found at least one hidden surveillance camera behind a ceiling. Collada wanted to destroy it, but Tony made them return it via his attorney, almost like a taunt. You can watch, but you still don't win. Bud Hall describes Tony as hyper-focused, running countless schemes without secretaries, files, or paper trails, relying on memory, tiny handwriting, and number transpositions to defeat investigators. The Stardust mistake, the direct link the FBI wanted. A key story. Tony tried to help a Chicago capo's relative get a job at the Stardust. After delays and excuses, Tony did what he shouldn't have done. He called the casino himself. For the FBI, this was gold. A recorded direct link between a mob operator and a licensed casino executive. Exactly the kind of ownership influence, connection both sides wanted hidden. Personal life collapse. 2 households, 1 pressure cooker. Tony lived separate from his wife Nancy, slept behind a locked steel door, and operated like someone under constant threat. He drove in patterns to shake tails, scan mirrors, and use body language instead of words in public. Meanwhile, Tony had a girlfriend, Cheryl, and the FBI captured domestic chaos on wire. Screaming, accusations, violence, and 911 calls made carefully to avoid blowing surveillance. Cheryl describes him as controlled and generous, but the overall picture is a man whose private life was eroding under paranoia, pressure, and exposure. A murder vignette. Fine, we never talk about this again. Collada recounts Tony ordering a hit on a small-time hustler, Jerry Lisner, who had rolled. Collada lured him in, shot him repeatedly, then moved the body into a pool to dissolve blood and remove evidence. Afterward, Tony's response was blunt. As of today, we never talk about this again. And they didn't. Endgame, too loud, too exposed, too risky. Spilotro was tailed, wired, harassed, arrested, and indicted, but he still walked into court smiling with attorney Oscar Goodman. The heat never stopped. Back home, the outfit saw the pattern. A Vegas enforcer becoming a headline, a problem, and a risk to the money flow. Eventually, they pulled him back to Illinois and ended it with brutal finality. Tony and his brother Michael were beaten, then burned in a cornfield. Vegas went back to business. The file stayed open,